here's another example of somebody that I've worked with that has suffered from burnout lately. So this person was a successful project manager at a tech company, always been a high achiever, taken massive pride in her work. But for the past 6 months, which is quite a long time, she has been feeling more and more overwhelmed and exhausted. Is the feeling again of just not being able to catch up on the to-do list. The to-do list keeps getting longer and longer. And I think a lot of us have been there where we just keep adding things onto our to-do list and it never seems to go down. Now, this was her issue and she's very shit hot at her job. But she's ended up being really irritable at work, literally can't sleep at night either, which isn't good because obviously that affects you as well and you're being able to work it the next day. Completely lost her passion for her job. She was at the point of quitting her job, but financially she couldn't afford to, but she really, she was at that stage where things were quite bad for her. It also got to the point where her co-workers were noticing as well. They had expressed a concern sort of for her welfare as well. But then that in turn, when they voiced that they were worried about her, that then made her feel like she was disconnected from her team. She'd always felt like she was in control and quite senior on her team. But then when people were actually being kind to her and saying that they were worried or concerned for her welfare, she then thought it was she was being attacked and felt completely out of control. And even though her colleagues were being particularly supportive, they were actually contributing to her feelings of overwhelm, but that she can manage her stress. So taking time out for herself, doing things as well that she could switch off from work, and working on some balancing out her mental health. There were some underlying issues that she hadn't worked on. It doesn't always have to be related to anything, it doesn't have to necessarily be connected to something to do with your work, and it wasn't in her case. There was some underlying issues that she hadn't dealt with from her past, and because these feelings hadn't been dealt with, things at work were triggering her, and when we sort of worked through these feelings, it ended up coming back to a point where she realised that there was certain trigger points that were happening at work, and because of the massive workload that she'd had, this was turning into stress and overwhelm, and then the complete imploding and not being able to cope with a stressful work environment, which she had done her whole life, which made it equally more frustrating for her. So we just worked on some practices that were personal to her, and that helped her deal with these situations at work, and so that she could get back in control of her schedule, her to-do lists, and now she is much more happier in her role, back in control, and also it was because she was quite a senior person as well. The other people that had obviously said that they were worried about her, it helped them with looking for support as well, because she had actually stepped up and admitted that she needed help instead of sort of trying to deal with it all on her own. And she was quite vocal about it, which I thought was quite brave of her. And she actually sort of spoke to her team and voiced the issues that she'd been having and what she was doing to sort of counteract that, and ended up helping her team as well with sort of some of the tools that I'd given her to work with to help calm her down when she was in, breathing exercises, but being sort of calming herself down in situations, going outside and, getting away from her desk when she was feeling particularly overwhelmed. And there were things that she could take back to her team and were very beneficial for her team to work with as well. So it's her working on her mental health then helped her team as well, which is really good to hear. So I hope that helps. And just if you're struggling with your mental health, it is really important to reach out, get the help you need, and also you could be helping other people as well. And if other people seeing you look for help can sort of help with the stigma of mental health as well within your workplace.